So those that follow me regularly will know that you never actually bloody know what Calvin's going to have on his channel next, and which is, you think that's exciting for you, that's also very exciting for me, because I never know what's going to come through my door from day to day. Now, I've literally just bought this car here, and it's a car that firstly I thought I'd never have on my channel, secondly I thought I'd never own, and thirdly that I'd never even get offered. It's quite a rare thing, isn't it? So today's video is going to be on this BMW 850i. I can hardly retain my excitement for the look of this car. It just looks, and one thing I talk about looks a lot because that is something that's so important to me. Cars, obviously they offer performance, they offer excitement, but visuals are a massive part of a car's character. Now this car is a 1991 BMW 850i, right? It's a J-Reg car, it's got a private plate there, DLZ 850 to go with what's under the bonnet, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But it just looks so bloody retro. We've got kind of like a bit of a ridge on the front arch here, and then a deeper ridge on the rear arch there. It's got these later BMW 7 Series wheels, which would be wrong to change the wheels on any classic car, but do you know what? I think that just looks spot on with them wheels on it. Pillarless windows. I've purposely undone front and rear window just to show you that, just to highlight that feature. Lovely thing that. We've got a nice sunroof as well, and as you come around, like the fuel cap, the way it's just sort of moulded into the rear quarter there, love that. But the rear end of this car, right, look at the bloody rear end. So as you walk round, it's got the biggest lights that you'll ever see on any car in history. Normally you'd think that looks wrong. By today's standard, that is definitely wrong. But when this car came out, I was born in 1987, by the way. This car came out in 1991. This is an early 850. When these cars come out, they were like the sort of supercar of the BMW world, the German super. They're not a supercar, they're like a high-end sports car, but it was a really rare thing to see on the road, and anyone that had one was an absolute geezer. They're a proper man's car. Back in them days, you couldn't get finance. If you had one of these, you were a man with lots of dosh, yeah? Savan, Bailey's Transport, stood next to my M6. We'll talk about that at some point, I'm sure, in this video. Very, very cool looking thing, very different. It's got pop-up headlights, again in theme with the time it was made. The front grills, let's quickly talk about this. It's funny how BMW have got this feature, and this feature still remains on BMWs, but as the years have gone on, these little kidney grills have got bigger and bigger and bigger. And this sort of resembles the front end of a BMW M1, which I don't know if they were sold on the open market, but they definitely had a very similar looking front end. And now as time's gone on, the kidney grills are absolutely huge, like on the new 7 Series, for example. So features and character is something that this car has lots of. If I come stand from this angle here, it has been lowered. We've got an exhaust system, so I'll demonstrate what it sounds like in a sec. But what a bloody cool looking car. It's in like a graphite black colour, so it's not like a phantom black. Dove grey interior, which is like a light grey. I'm not a fan like usually of grey interior, but that a nice light grey does go down nicely. You can see it's worn a bit on the driver's seat. Has done, do you know what, let's talk about the mileage. I was going to say it has done a lot of miles. Hasn't done a lot of miles at all. This car has done, let's jump in here, get the key out, just touched 80,000 miles. 80,000 miles on a car, yeah, that's 30 years old, or almost 30 years old. So in fact, let's get back in there. Really good mileage, got stacks of history, loads of old MOTs and stuff like that, so it's nice to see all of that. There is no sort of downfalls with this car. I think what I need to do is use 2 hands to open the bonnet. 1 second. Under the bonnet, it is a 5 litre, obviously being an 850, it's the 5 litre V12 BMW engine under the bonnet there. It's 296 bhp. Be interesting to dyno it actually, to see how much power it's lost over the years, but ain't massively high performance. Obviously for the time, for anyone to have anywhere near to 300 brake under the bonnet of their car was quite exceptional. 0-60 times, not very quick at all. There it is on the screen, because I didn't bloody know off the top of my head. And but it does weigh 1,800 kilos, which is obviously, it's a heavy car, which in comparison to my M6, which is almost like the late version of this car. It looks criminal actually. Let's talk about that quickly. M6 in green with all these bits done on it. People that owned these back in the day will look at something like YM6 and be like, mate, what the bloody hell have you done? That is absolutely criminal. It is criminal, but for some strange reason I really like it. But yeah, so it weighs just as much as my M6. My M6 has got 700 bhp, this has got 300 bhp, but we're not here to talk about the performance of this car. We're just here to talk about the legend that is the 8 Series BMW. What we'll do now is we'll jump in, let's go for a little walk back round to the driver's seat, and I've got a V12, guys. I think this is the first V12 that I've ever had on my channel. I sort of feel like I don't even want to step foot in there because it is mint inside. I'm going to get that carpet dirty. Don't worry, we'll give it a clean after. But yeah, V12 raw incoming, yeah? Ready? Bit of fuel in it, nice. See, it's funny how, like, if you start that, the way that bursts into life when you start, I'm talking about the M6 now, by the way, the way it sort of bursts into life when you start it, back in the day, like the early 90s, things didn't quite do that. Now, I have warmed this up prior to starting the engine. Temperature needle there just to, as proof, so people are like, oh Calvin, you can't rev an engine when it's cold. Don't worry, it's warm, guys, all right? Relax, relax, and have a listen to this, yeah? Now, I don't know how that's sounding through the camera, but in my life right now, through my ears, that is sounding amazing. So it's got an Eisenmann, that's very German, isn't it? Eisenmann, that's my German accent, very good attempt there, Calv. Exhaust system, the wheels, the suspension, subtle mods, looking very nice, very OEM plus. But I think what we'll do now is we'll jump in it and go for a drive, yeah? Man, 8 Series BMW. Now we actually, so for those that don't know, I'm a car trader, diver of a car trader, I suppose that's kind of a giveaway. Me and my brother started up car trading about 10 years ago. We actually started off washing cars in a pub car park when we started buying cars off of people that were getting their cars washed, like customers, and we just started building up cars. There's been no handouts, no luck, we've just been on it non-stop over the years. So don't think for 1 second that anything comes to you, hold on, this window's playing up. Nothing comes to you with ease. You just got to be on it, work hard, and you get results, don't you? It's as simple as that. And that's exactly what me and my brother have done, and we've done really well. But the point anyway, I don't know why I went off track slightly there. We had an 8 Series BMW about, I would say about 8 years ago. It was an 840i, so we've done the 850, the 840. The 850 was like the daddy of 8 Series BMWs. The 840 is a V8 engine, so not quite as, let's flick that camera on at the front first. Not quite as exciting as having a V12 under your bonnet, but to be honest with you, there weren't massive differences power wise. It just, I suppose, a bit of an ego thing. If you've got an 850, you're the man, ain't you? But yeah, this is my site, so I generally film at the back of Binker because we get busy at the weekend, and yeah, it sort of keeps me out of the way of customers. So big front end, massive front end. What we'll do is we'll get on the roads, I'll get out the yard, there's potholes and stuff everywhere, and we'll continue talking about the 8 Series, alright? Now, driving an old car is a very different experience to driving what I'm used to driving, all these modern sort of I don't drive high performance modern cars all day, every day, but I drove to work today in my M6 and there is a massive difference between these two cars. Bit of disconnection between the wheels, the steering wheel and the front wheels, definitely, but the overall feel of it, it does feel very high quality. Let me just quickly look at the headlights. Look at that for a feature, man. Pop-up headlights, again, very sort of late 80s, early 90s. Flick them back down. They work as well, which is nice to see. But yeah, it's a heavy car. It feels very heavy. Performance-wise, it ain't lighting the world on fire. We have got a sports mode. Let's see what that does. That's actually a lot better. Lovely sound coming from under the bonnet and obviously from the exhaust at the back. Going back to the 840 that we had all them years ago, I say all them years, it was 7 or 8 years, I can't remember when it was. Nice car that was, but one thing I remember about that car, and these are notorious for that, is the brakes. They're a very difficult thing to stop. Now this has had new discs and pads apparently. The discs look like spanking new, and it should stop really well in theory, shouldn't it? But it does. Like, you do put your foot on the brake and it does as it should. But again, comparing it to, which I shouldn't do, to what I drove to work in this morning, it feels like you've got to give it a bit more effort. 2 feet maybe to get it to stop. So that's the first thing I noticed. But there's so much to talk about with this car. So the 8 Series BMW, obviously it's an icon of a car. They've relaunched the 8 Series recently. The new M8 is out. There wasn't actually an M8 of this early 90s version. Don't know why. Apparently there was one produced, but it never hit the market. Probably something to do with the recession, because I know a lot of cars in the 90s were really affected by the recession in the 90s. So doesn't matter, because right now I'm sat in the 850, which is the top of the range one. But saying that, this is an early 850. Later on in time they brought out the 850 Ci, and then they brought out the CSI, which was a bit more power. I'm pretty sure that was like a 5.4 litre V8, don't quote me on that. Bit more power. They modernised it a little bit, put different wheels on it, but yeah, they enhanced it as they do with every car on the market, facelifted it and done a few little bits and bobs to it. But still, this was the top one of its time. So 80,000 miles, great history. So from a selling point of view, it ticks all the boxes. But one thing I say about classic cars a lot is demand is quite low on classic cars. If you're expecting to buy a classic car, you need to buy it for cheap and accept that it takes a long time for a buyer to come along. But don't get impatient, don't keep dropping the price. Sit firm at what you think it's worth, and eventually it will sell. And when that buyer comes along, he'll pay that premium because he really wants that bloody car, all right? And this will be one of them cars. No doubt it will sit around for a bit of time, but I'm patient. I'm not in a rush to get the money back, and when I get that money back, it will come back with a decent profit. So let's put my foot down a little bit. It's all doing as it should. Now, something else I want to mention is, so me and my brother Leon, that I mentioned earlier, we've got the car business. Back in the day, Leon used to wash cars for the local car trader, right? When he was at school, he'd finish school and go to the local car sales and clean their cars after school, right? And the owner of that car dealership had a BMW 850i with a, what's the name of the bloody kit? A Koenig body kit on it. Nowadays, it would look a bit over the top. It's very sort of max power sort of style. Too much in most people's opinion, but for the time of when this car came out, it looked absolutely savage. It was really wide. It had like Ferrari Testarossa style slats in the side, big wing on the back, and I used to look at that car like it was a bloody, like it was a god, man. I just used to look at it and think, wow, that is such a cool car. So again, putting that stamp on me and Leon as well, of course, that these cars were just like a bit of an icon and a massive legend of the 90s. So yeah, well happy, man, well happy. As I walked around it earlier, I was genuine. I grabbed my cameras, I was just excited about filming it. I think it just looks so bloody good, doesn't it? So I think, don't really know what else I can say. There's so much to be said. Very loose driving experience, I would say that, but you know what, when you're driving down the road in an 8 Series BMW with pillarless windows, let's demonstrate that again. Yeah, look at that. How bloody cool is that? With a sunroof, which I won't open again because getting it closed is a bit of a task because of the cloth on the roof's a bit loose there. But yeah, love it. And when I had my 840, let me quickly touch on this. I remember thinking, I hate this car. This is a bloody horrible thing to drive. And when this car came in, I thought it would be nice to have an 850, but I remember driving it and thinking I don't like the drive of them cars. But I can honestly say that my opinion on the drive of these cars has completely changed because it drives, I think, better than I expected it would. So yeah, man, I'm impressed. So this car, I've bought it to sell it. I'm not going to be doing there's no project to be had here. Doesn't need any TLC. The guy that I bought it off, we've bought a few cars off him over the years. They're a family of BMW lovers. I won't say their names, so they probably won't want their names mentioned in the video, but shout out to them. Proper decent guys. They've sold us some lovely cars over the years, and yeah, they're BMW enthusiasts. And my channel right now is very, I'm not saying it's completely around BMWs, but there is a lot of BMW content in and around my channel at the minute, and there's going to be plenty more coming. So I've bought some quite cool cars lately, so look out for more different types of cars on my channel. Yeah, man, I'm done. This is the car trade. Very excited to bring this on my channel, so I hope you like this video. If you did like this video, do me a favour, smash that like button. If you're on Instagram, give me a follow on Instagram at Calvin's Car Diary, and if you ain't subscribed to my channel, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notified when I upload. New video every Wednesday and Sunday at 6 o'clock, and yeah, man, that's it. I think I'm done. See you in the next video. Alright, bye. In the next episode of Diary of a Car Trader, at long last we've got a Jag on the channel. My latest purchase is a 2006 Jaguar XKR.